Alliance Alive is a game that I've been dying to play since it was originally released in 2018 on the 3DS. The reason being is that it was written by Yoshitaka Murayama, the genius behind the Suikoden series, one of the best RPG series ever made. It's been about 10 years since he worked on anything, which is why I was so excited to see him back in action. The recent release of Alliance Alive HD Remaster is basically the same as the original, so if you've played the game in the past, don't expect anything in the way of new content. What you can expect is a very classic feeling JRPG experience with quite a few unique mechanics that help make the game feel fresh. I enjoyed this journey every step of the way and was very happy to see that the game did have a bit of Suikoden feel to it. Alliance Alive is set in a fantasy world where its four main regions are separated by the ocean and a mysterious barrier. This barrier not only confines each region, but it also creates some very abnormal weather conditions. The human race is regarded the lowest in society and looked down upon by the beast folk who do the bidding of the demons, who are the mostly unseen yet supreme rulers of the world. The story begins by following the actions of Galil and Azura, two humans who are members of the human resistance. After a couple of hours of key events, the focus shifts to other characters' point of views elsewhere in the world. All of these characters eventually cross paths and strive to uncover the mysteries of the Great Barrier and regain their rights over the demons. There is definitely a Suikoden feel with the writing in that an unlikely bunch of heroes end up forming alliances and fighting against a more powerful enemy. While certainly enough to keep me playing, the story and characters were a lot more shallow and lacked the depth that I wanted, particularly from a game written by the Suikoden creator. With that said, there is quite a lot of enjoyable dialogue between the characters, and while it can make many of them seem tropey, I found most of it to be entertaining. Something that I really felt that was needed to drive this story was voice acting in the cutscenes. Despite knowing that there wasn't going to be any, it always felt strange that these scenes were void of voices, particularly since the text often disappears too fast to read. This HD remaster really doesn't offer much in the way of new features, and voice acting here would have been perfect. At least the graphical enhancements are a clear upgrade though. The world and characters look simple, but I liked the style as it really feels like a prettier version of the games I loved from the 90s. The Suikoden feels are perhaps at their strongest when it comes to recruiting NPCs around the world to build on the power of your army and home base. One of the unique mechanics here is the guild system. There are 5 different guilds, and depending on how many people you recruit and assign to each guild, the more bonuses you'll receive. For example, sending recruits to the Blacksmith Guild will slowly open up more equipment for you to develop. The Tactics Guild, on the other hand, will provide you with new formations and positions to use in battle. There are over 150 NPCs to find and recruit to your army, however the vast majority of them only require you to talk to them. If you are expecting hundreds of characters to the quality of Suikoden, then you'll be disappointed. The guild masters, on the other hand, are a little less generic. Masters can be assigned to towers that you can build on the world map, and by doing so, the guild will support you in battle if you're in range of the tower. While the idea of recruiting characters and having them help you out is good, at times it was a bit of a drag. Much of the time you're required to go into town and talk to everyone until you find someone with a name who will join you. Alliance Alive feels very old school, and perhaps the biggest contributor to this is the world map. There are multiple modes of transport that you can use to reach all sorts of hidden locations on the map, and travelling around thoroughly searching every corner of the world was a lot of fun. There are also no random encounters. All enemies can be seen and will chase you around once you cross their line of sight. However, most of them are pretty easy to avoid if you want to. Aside from building up your guilds, there is quite a bit to keep you busy, including recruiting 3 optional playable party members and also several optional bosses and dungeon-like areas to work through. I really miss this style of exploration, and Alliance Alive does it very well. The turn-based combat pits 5 of your possible 12 party members against a bunch of enemies. Much of the strategy in battle involves selecting which weapons to equip and which weapon arts to use. It's very simple but works surprisingly well. In battle, each character can equip 2 weapons at a time, and the more they use a particular weapon, the more chance they'll have in awakening a new art. Furthermore, these arts can be leveled up through use, so it's a good idea to choose a small variety of arts to focus on. These growth mechanics are all based on chance. During battle, there's a chance you'll learn a new skill, a chance a skill will upgrade, and also, at the end of battle, a chance that your character will level up their HP or SP. These are all based on complicated algorithms, accounting for factors like the enemy's level, but I will say that I felt this system worked exceptionally well. Furthermore, talent points can be spent on learning passive abilities based on weapon classes, and this is a great way to further customize your characters. After a certain amount of time in battle, your characters will enter an ignition state, which is basically like the limit breaks of old. They can unleash a powerful art here, but at the expense of breaking the weapon, making it unusable until you can repair it outside of battle. Another Suikoden-like addition is the formation system, and this plays a massive part in battle strategy. Characters can either be placed in the front, middle, or back row, which impacts their threat level and also the power of some arts. Furthermore, each character can be assigned a position in battle, and these are all grouped into either attack, guard, or support. There are a lot of different positions to play around with, and selecting from the different formations and positions provides a lot of strategic depth. Also worth noting is the auto battle and battle speed up options. This ensures that the easier encounters or grinding is never an unnecessary lengthy chore. Alliance Alive made me feel like I was playing a game from the 90s but in the modern day. Better yet, in places it really did provide those Suikoden feels, even if the whole recruitment and HQ mechanics were a lot more simplistic. The most enjoyable parts of the game for me was the world map exploration and the simple yet innovative battle and upgrade mechanics. Aside from the disappointment in the lack of new features such as having voice acting when there clearly should have been, just about everything else such as the story and characters were mediocre. They do more than enough to ensure that the experience is enjoyable, but they're certainly not something that you'll be remembering for years to come. I'm glad that I finally got around to playing Murayama's latest, and for those of you after a JRPG with a classic feel, then you could do a lot worse than Alliance Alive. What did you think of Alliance Alive? Let me know in the comments. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. If you like this, check out some of my other videos. See you next time.